Hey there, fellow Gen Xers, and welcome back to Gen X Money Moves. Today we're talking about how much is enough to live the life you desire in retirement. And I can tell you, quite frankly, that none of my degrees nor years of professional work experience provided the education needed to understand and plan for retirement. But after that wake-up call I had some years ago, and I told you all about that in video 1, I made a quick shift, lots of adjustments, and I can tell you with confidence that I'm no longer concerned about working until I'm 70, 75, or 80 years old. That is a good thing. So the road to financial peace, freedom, and options begins with knowing your number, meaning just how much you will need to live comfortably in retirement. And that involves doing a little bit of simple math. Now, I told you that I did all of this intensive study. I ran across all kinds of formulas, and you probably have too. For instance, you have to have 10 times your current salary by the time you reach retirement age, or 80% of your final pre-retirement salary. Maybe you've heard just some random numbers thrown out like 1.5 million or 2 million. I've heard that too. And then there's, at the age of 40, you should have 2 times your salary saved. By 50, it's 4 times your salary saved, and so on. You get the point. Here's what we all know. Everyone's situation is different, and there's no one size fits all. There are so many variables and things to consider. For instance, some people will have a lot of debt going into retirement. Others, very little or none at all. Some of us will care for aging loved ones in retirement. Others, no dependents. Do you want to have a very lavish life in retirement? Or will you be content to just be comfortable in retirement? These are just a few examples of how everyone's situation is different, and I could go on and on. So it's important to do the simple math, because there is a calculation, and determine your enough number. And we can do this by using what is called the 25x rule, or the multiply by 25 rule. So now it's very easy to calculate your enough number, but it is going to take a little bit of time because it involves you gathering some information, looking over your current expenses, and using that as a basis for determining what your expenses will be in retirement. And remember, this is not a set in stone hard number that you're coming up with. You're getting in the ballpark, and we know that life happens. We have to be flexible, but this is a great place to start. With that said, let's move on to those 5 steps. So, number 1, the first thing you want to do is take a look at all of your current expenses. As I said, this is going to be the basis for determining your expenses in retirement. Now, you want to, of course, take a look at your bank statements, your credit card statements. If you use any apps that won't show up in those areas, Cash App or whatever apps, money apps you use, transacting business, you want to really get a clear picture of what you spend money on today. Of course, all of your utilities, your insurances, your mortgage or rent, food, entertainment, everything. And you want to get as close to accurate as possible. So take some time with this. Once you have looked at all of your expenses, move on to step 2. In step 2, you want to make a few adjustments. So while that's what you spend money on today, in retirement, there may be some of those expenses that you're able to omit. So for instance, maybe you'll have your mortgage paid off by the time you reach retirement, in which case you can delete that line item. Or let's just say that you spend a lot of money now going to the dry cleaners for work, or pre-pandemic you did, and perhaps that will start up again. But in retirement, you are going to be casual. Your wardrobe is going to change. You're not going to the cleaners. maybe that is removed from your list. Yep, you're getting that nitty-gritty with your expenses. You also want to think about expenses that you don't have currently that you will have in retirement. And for example, perhaps you drive a company car now, and so you're not paying for fuel, car maintenance, insurance, etc. But you will in retirement. Yes, we will. So you want to add in this expense. Perhaps you will begin caring for a loved one, an aging parent. You want to figure out as best you can that expense. Or maybe long-term care. Long-term care may be something that you haven't considered, you've thought about it. You're going to have those premiums kick in by the time you're in retirement, perhaps sooner, but that will become a part of your expenses. So you get the idea. Okay, so step 3. In step 3, you're going to want to go ahead and add up all of your expenses that you anticipate having in retirement. Once you have that grand total, don't fret because we're going to do a little more math. So here's what I want you to do. Think about other sources of income that you can rely on in retirement. For instance, Social Security. Yes, if you've been paying into it, why wouldn't you want it? Don't sleep on Social Security. I know I'm not. If you haven't logged into the Social Security Administration's website, get in there, create an account, find out how much you can expect coming to you each month from Social Security. Okay, what about pensions? I'm not gonna have one. Pensions are something that our parents and grandparents could rely on. They were quietly, slowly fading away starting in the 70s when the birth of the 401k came to be. But many people will still have some pension from maybe an early job that they had, or if you work in the public sector, you more than likely will have that pension, and that's awesome. You want to go ahead and subtract the pension. Perhaps you have rental property. That's a great source of income in retirement. Go ahead and subtract the amount that you can depend on receiving monthly from any rental property. I think you get the picture. You have other sources of income that are going to be guaranteed to come your way in retirement. And if that is true, identify those sources. We've named a few. Social Security, pensions, rental property, and there may be others. Subtract that amount from your total and we'll move forward. In step 4, you're going to take that total for your monthly expenses, multiply it by 12, and that's going to give you your annual expenses in retirement, at least anticipated annual expenses in retirement. We know that the job we have today may not be the job we have tomorrow, or the good health that hopefully we're in today could change, but we're moving forward with a plan, being positive. Gotta have a plan. So that's step 4. Step 5. Now we're going to apply the 25x rule or the multiply by 25 rule. Take that total for your annual expenses and multiply it by 25. So, for example, say you'll need $80,000 a year in retirement. You're going to take that $80,000, multiply it by 25, and you are going to find that you'll need a whopping $2 million in retirement.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
So you may be wondering, why multiply by 25?
Well, the 25x rule says
that if you save 25 times your annual expenses in retirement and have a 4% annual withdrawal rate, then this money should last you 30 years in retirement. Okay, let's do one more example because that $2 million was rather scary. Okay, let's just say that you take a look at all of your expenses that you anticipate monthly in retirement, and now you are looking at $6,000. However, we haven't factored in those other sources of income. $6,000 minus Social Security, and let's say your Social Security is going to be $2,000 a month. Now you are looking at $4,000 a month in retirement that you have to come up with, but not quite, because you have this pension from a job that you had 30 years ago, 25 years ago. It's going to be $1,000 a month, but it counts. So now we're going to subtract that $1,000, and you now are looking at $3,000 a month that you need to come up with in retirement. Now we could keep going, but let's just stop there. Let's say it's $3,000 now per month that you need. So we're gonna do 3,000 times 12, that's to get your annual, and that's $36,000 that you'll need each year for from the time you stop working for however long you live. We're gonna say 25 to 30 years.
So we're going to use that 25x rule.
And we're gonna multiply 36,000 times 25. We're gonna come up with $900,000. Now, I know you may be thinking, but that's still a big number. It's not 2 million, it's a better number. But as I shared with you in the first video, I had that shocking moment when I learned my number. But you swing into gear, you put these strategies in place, and you will be amazed if you're not already there. And I know some of you will be. If you're not, you'll be amazed at how you can, use the time you have between now and retirement age to get there. And that's what we're going to talk about next. How to employ various strategies to make your money work for you between now and retirement so that you can get there. But sticking with our topic, calculating your number, I'm providing in the notes below links to 3 resources that will help you. 1, please download the Gen X Money Moves Retirement Expense Worksheet. This is going to help guide you, a great tool to calculating these expenses, making sure that you've thought of everything and you don't leave anything out. That's there for you. 2, there is a link to the Social Security Administration's website. There are many people that have never thought about, oh, yes, I will have some guaranteed money, Social Security. You want to find out what that's going to be. And then 3, I've put in the notes some great resources that really speak more in depth to the 25 times rule or the multiply by 25 rule. These are the books that I read and that were a great source of knowledge in helping me get on track for retirement, but more specifically to calculate that number. So we didn't talk about inflation and taxes, and those are real. We will. But for now, let's just get that ballpark number and we'll move forward from there. We all want financial peace, freedom, and options in retirement, right? But we don't just want this for ourselves. We want this for our family, our friends, our colleagues, our network, anyone that we care about, and just people in general. So, as I said earlier, maybe you calculate your number and you think, oh, I'm good, I'm on track. Encourage someone else to start thinking about their money. Share this video and share the knowledge that you have with someone else so that we can all get there together, because that's what it's all about. So thanks for watching this video, and be on the lookout for video 3 next week. Bye.